So you want to learn about unit testing. You want to learn about unit testing for Spring Boot applications. You want to learn about using Mockito, creating mock objects, all that stuff. But you're watching the videos. They seem a little too complex. You're trying to read the documentation. Again, that's not any better. And you're at the point where you're just getting very frustrated with this. And you just want to either do data science or become a front-end developer. Well, I got you. I'm going to go over this with you in a very simple manner. We're not even going to look at any code today in this video. This is just going to be a very simple, bare bones analogy of how unit testing works within the context of a Spring Boot application. Now, if any of those words didn't make sense, that's no problem. That's perfect. I expect that at the end of this video, you're going to have a lot more insight into what you're doing when you're working with these classes and all that good backend stuff that we like to do as software engineers, right? So I got you. So first, let's just look at this very simple scenario, right? We have, let's say this guy's your roommate, right? He does laundry. We have some dirty laundry over here. We have a washing machine, right? So the way this task works, right, is, your roommate he may or may not be that good at doing laundry. He goes to the restroom, he gets the clothes hamper and he takes that to the washing machine. The clothes get washed. Again, he takes the clean clothes back to, whatever the laundry room, where y'all put the clothes, and then he's done, right? Very simple process, very straightforward, right? So let's say you have a roommate that's not, he doesn't have the most common sense, right? He doesn't, not the brightest crayon in the box, right? Or not the most colorful bulb in the crayon box, whatever. So he does that, right? And let's say sometimes he just, whenever he did the laundry, because for some reason you guys mix the laundry together too, right? Sometimes some clothes, they don't smell good. Sometimes, the white shirts, they get stained, they end up turning pink. So you're not sure that what you thought was a simple process of getting the clothes, taking them to the washing machine. You thought that was a simple process he was doing, but somewhere along the way, something's not being done right. And let's say, for some reason, at the end of the week, your roommate's mom is going to come and, you don't want him to be embarrassed. So you want to make sure that he's doing his laundry correctly. Now, how do we verify this process? How do you check that he's doing it right? Maybe it's something wrong with the clothes hamper. Maybe it's something wrong with the washing machine. Who knows, right? Maybe, there's like a squirrel getting in there, tearing it up. I don't know. But at the end of the day, we want to test this out. But we only want to make sure that he's doing his part, right? Because if at the end of the day, he's doing his part, getting the clothes, taking them to the washing machine, setting it to wash correctly. If he's doing all that correctly, then maybe it is something wrong with the washing machine. Maybe it's something wrong with the hamper. And, maybe there is, some kind of, elf or, squirrel sneaking around, doing the evil bidding, right? So again, I know I'm repeating this a little bit, but this is important for the concept to set in. So how would we test that he's doing it correctly? Well, we would want to watch him do it multiple times, right? But we really can't do that because you can only wash clothes whenever there's dirty clothes, right? You can't test the process of him washing clothes if there's no dirty clothes. And also you could say, well, I could just get clean clothes and wash them, make them wash them, right? But that's also not efficient because that is going to take up electricity in the washing machine. It's a waste of water. That's not good for the environment, right? So we also can't really do that. But again, right now, we don't even really care whether the washing machine works. We don't even really care whether, there's dirty or clean clothes. We just want to know that he's doing the right things, right? What if he's just throwing them over the balcony? What if he's just stepping all over them? Like, we just want to verify that what his actions of getting the clothes, taking them to the washer are being done correctly, right? So this is where unit testing comes in, right? We want to essentially test only the thing that your roommate is doing, only his process of going to get the clothes, putting them in the washer. So we create a scenario or we create some objects for him to be able to do that, right? That's where, unit tests come in, right? So here to test it out, we're just gonna have this fake cardboard hamper filled with not even dirty clothes. They're just filled with crumpled paper. And we're gonna have this fake washing machine, right? Because we want to observe him getting the hamper, taking it to the washing machine, and dumping the quote unquote clothes on the washing machine, right? And again, we don't care that the clothes aren't going to get washed. We don't even care that it's not even real clothes, because all we care about is this process of him getting the quote unquote clothes, and then putting it in the washing machine, right? So essentially, in that sense, all we're doing here is we're testing it out by creating mock objects of, we basically have a mock washing machine and a mock, clothes hamper. So let's look at that in terms of, this is where we'll talk about in terms of like classes, right? So we have some classes. We're going to have our laundry workflow. That's going to be what your roommate does. We have our laundry basket. It's going to be basically your data class. And then we're going to have the washing machine class, right? So again, from the perspective of we'll just call this laundry app. From the perspective of our app, when our laundry workflow class interacts with our laundry basket, well, which also interacts with our washing machine class, of course we want, if everything's working right and we want to verify that, we want to test each one of these independent of each other, right? We want to know that the behavior that we're expecting from this class by itself is not dependent or affected in any way by something else in these other classes, right? So again, because in our application scenario, or in the scenario of our roommate, we only want to know that what's going on in this class is being done correctly outside of, whether there's clothes or not, or outside of whether the washing machine is working or not. We're going to test that independently, right? So that's with our unit tests with libraries like Mockito or Mockito BDD, it allows you to create these mock objects, right? So we can create a mock washing machine. We can create a mock clothes hamper. And all it's going to do is it's going to let you test the code of the class you're testing, in this case laundry workflow. And as it's going through the methods, as it goes through the methods that it calls, it's gonna instantiate mock versions of your other classes, right? And within these mock frameworks, what you're also able to do is basically you get to set what it is that your application is going to do and what the expected outcome is going to be, right? So I think that's one of the easiest ways I can think of explaining this, right? This analogy. Again, basically you go from having these three classes, all of which interact together. You want to know what the one class is that you want to test first, and then you proceed to create mock objects of everything else that you're not testing, right? And as you build out your application, the more, especially in like a Spring Boot application where you have like services, controllers, and all repositories, as the application gets bigger, if changes are being made, you need unit tests in order to verify that any changes that you make aren't going to break anything else in the application, right? So I think that's going to be it for today. I do want to go ahead and provide a more, I guess, quote unquote technical explanation, but that's going to be another video. I think for me personally, when I started learning about these, hearing all the terminology at times felt somewhat overwhelming, but being able to finally read up on it and, hone down to a simpler context that I felt like reminded me of the overall, the big picture of what's happening, really helped me understand and just solidify the knowledge. So I really hope that this helped you in that sense, especially if you're just starting out. And again, if you have any questions about your tech career, maybe you're still at that point where you don't feel confident in your coding, or you're still trying to build up projects, be sure to join my Discord. More than happy to help out. Send me a DM on there. More than happy to answer any questions you might have about the industry. I know with all the craze about AI and this and that, everybody has tons of questions, but thank you so much for watching, and I wish you the best of luck.